YouTube. So these are two live platforms. We are now live. So if you'd like, you can head on over there. You can jump on and you can get a little bit more up close and personal with the engagement this morning. We've got the beautiful and amazing, wonderful, talented, absolutely instrumental Jeanille Bonterre is our guest this morning. And that was long in the making, so we are very excited to start that conversation this morning. Like I mentioned, she could be considered a Lucian. That is a Lucian right there because she spent a lot of time here connected with a lot of us on the ground. You know, we interacted on very meaningful platforms with her. She was instrumental in a lot of things for a lot of us, and I say us, I'm included in that as well. So it is quite an honor to have her as part of our highlight today. She continued to share in her journey with us and continue to inspire us women all across the region. So again, we'd like to say thank you to our partner, the First National Bank. They have been with us for some time now, and we appreciate the fact that they understood the vision and they did more than just say we understand. They actually supported, and they've been with us for quite some time now. So we appreciate you, the First National Bank, for understanding the vision, but going beyond just understanding and lending your support to ensure that we could have had this program continuously running on Radio Caribbean International. Let's take a word from the partner, and when we come back, we're going to bring our guests up. We're going to start that conversation because 30 minutes is no time, and before you blink, it's going to be gone, and the conversation will not be over, and we'll say, oh my God, we need more time. So let's get into it right now. A word from the partner, then we'll be back.
At First National Bank, we believe being first means putting you first. Your first home? We've got the mortgage. Starting your first business? Count on our commercial loans. Dreaming of your first car? Drive it home today. Heading to college? Let's fund that first big step with a student loan. No matter the milestone, make First National Bank your first choice for all your loan needs. First in service, first in trust, first for you. Call us at 455-7000 or visit your nearest First National Bank branch today so we can help put you first. First National Bank, here for you.
Well, okay and wonderful, and it's now time to bring my guest up and add her to the studio because we have been waiting and anticipating this connection for so long. And Jeanille, I am so honored. I am so blessed. I am so privileged. I mean, all of the adjective that you can add to this is what I'm feeling right now because you have influence. You have influence, you have guided, you have inspired so many of us within that field. You know, and your warm personality, your constant your constant characterism to share, your constant characterism to want to pull somebody up. You know, it remains it just stands there, and it remains the pillar of which we continue to admire. So I am honored to have you on She Speaks last week. Whatever happened with this weather did not transpire, but you know what? Everything in its right timing. So I believe there was a reason why last week didn't come off, and we're able to do it today. So let me say welcome, and I am so honored.
Oh, Mareen, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, RCI. Thank you, St. Lucia.
You know that's home, right?
Oh my gosh, I miss you all.
I know. We
really
miss you too.
all.
We miss you. We miss you. We miss you too. And we're hoping that will change, and we're gonna get to see you soon again. But Jeanille, we want to just wire back down because St. Lucia got connected with you after you were Jeanille Bonterre. You know,
yes.
The Tempo Star, the MTV. You were all over, and you were just that brilliant, beautiful woman that just, you know, your poise and everything just resonated. That's where everybody connected with you. But you know what? This didn't just start there. So we normally on She Speak like to wire it back down a little bit. Bring us back to the girl days, the childhood moments, the memories. Those are the grounded moments that would have guided you or grounded you. Some of the principles back then that adds towards the person that you became and you continue to be. So we want to take it back to childhood. You know, what was it like? Where were you born? What was growing up like? Some of the principles.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll try to sum it up as
right.
succinctly as I can.
Certainly.
So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Jeanille Bonterre. Many of you may know me from TV as Empress Jeanille. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, the beautiful twin island of Trinidad and Tobago. I grew up in a community called Glencoe, in a place called Newberry Hill, which is in West Trinidad. And yeah, I had a really wonderful upbringing. I can't deny it. I grew up privileged, but my parents worked very hard to get us to that place. My mother's from South Trinidad, Siparia. My father's from the East Barataria. And together they really worked extremely hard to build a life for my siblings and I. I'm the youngest of six siblings. And yeah, it just, well, actually seven siblings, because my parents both had kids before they
Oh,
met each other. And my brothers and I came after that. And so, yeah, growing up the youngest in the household was definitely an experience. Everybody knows the last born, the apple of the
spoiled,
eye.
spoiled, spoiled.
But I was spoiled in a good way. I mean, I grew up with brothers and male
Ah,
cousins,
right,
so
right.
I was pretty much more often than not the only girl in many situations. So two things happen when that happens. One, you grow up tough. You grow up being able to defend yourself and speak
Right,
up for yourself and stand up for yourself, and you also grow with a particular sensitivity to the male counterpart.
right.
I had a lot of close male friends. Like literally, I had best male friends before I had boyfriends, so to speak.
Nice.
And I always felt comfortable in social environments around boys and men because I had brothers, and my
Nice.
brothers' friends became my brothers also. So I grew up in that type of sheltered environment, but at the same time, my father and my mother um, never allowed us to forget not only where they came from, but what was important.
Yeah.
And what was extremely important in my family, not just with my parents, but with my aunts, my uncles, and my wider extended family, was philanthropy and community development, and always
Right.
having a spiritual grounding to everything we did. So my mother was very active in the church. My father was extremely active in community organizations like the Deaf Association, of which he was chairman. He was the head of the JC's Lodge, the Lions Community Club. He was, master of the Masonry, master of the
Wow.
Alexandra Lodge here in Trinidad and Tobago. So as I said, it was a really broad experience growing up in my household. My aunt and uncle were pretty much carnival pioneers. They launched one of the biggest carnival movements to this date that has influenced the carnival culture in Trinidad and Tobago, first with Edmund Hart, Edmund and Lil Hart, and then they branched out and started their own band, which was Savage Carnival, and then they branched out again and started Barbarossa Carnival. My uncle became the chairman of the National Carnival Bandleaders Association. So I say all that because they also brought me into the entertainment industry, which is how I made my start, my foray into media. My uncle assigned me with the task of public relations at a very young age. So fresh out of high school, wasn't sure if I wanted to go to college just yet. And he gave me the opportunity to work with my aunt, my uncle, my father and my mother. It was a family band, right? So there I was, 19 years old, managing and doing PR and marketing for our family's carnival band, which was at the time a membership of 5,000 strong. I was able to travel throughout the region, promoting carnival and using my education and my breeding that I had acquired in Trinidad and Tobago to great use. I went to St. Joseph's Convent, Port of Spain. Um, Big up convent girls, SJC,
You see
woo.
all, olive muscle.
Yeah,
Olive
so
muscle.
yeah, so
Yeah.
going to an all-girl Catholic school, and again having that prestige and privilege attached to it, but yet being grounded in the community and the development of the country that I came from, was really important because I was always balancing that thin line between the grassroots community and the uptown community,
Right,
and
right.
understanding the importance of giving back, of not necessarily chasing after an ideal that was outside of our culture, outside of our country, but always making sure that things stayed local, things stayed close to the grassroots. Many of my family members were of the same, upbringing. So, yeah, I gotta say, I had a very blessed upbringing. The usual family issues that any families go through, especially big, extended, blended families. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah,
right?
absolute.
But again, all of those experiences helped me to stay grounded and to understand the importance of human interaction, of empathy, of compassion, of understanding people's circumstances. We may not all think alike or have the same experiences or come from the same background or racial group or class, but that should not divide us. If anything, that should allow us to connect more and communicate more with each other and understand each other more. So that was the understanding. Some may have said it was naive or sort of, Tinkerbell, but that was my experience. So I was always taught to be myself and to express myself and again, to stand up for myself, to not be intimidated by any situations. And I think all of that, coupled with the experience working with my family in the entertainment business, my father's strict, rules and regulations of the household, where we had to be involved in community service, even as students in primary school and high school. He would always take me to all his different meetings and gatherings. So I got a lot of that. There was always something happening, So I got a lot of that training and upbringing through my experience and my education in Trinidad and Tobago, which prepared me for, the international stage.
Absolutely. Well, that's a lot there. We're going to take a word from the partner, and when we come back, we're going to walk through now the career path and how it is that all of these groundedness would have guided some of the things you were able to achieve. And of course, we got to find out what's happening now, where you are, what's going on, and how it is that we can connect again. So let's take a word from the partner, the First National Bank, and we're coming right back.
Tired of sky-high bills and the planet on the brink? It's time to go green without burning your pockets. At First National Bank, we are here to make saving the planet affordable. Whether you're installing solar panels, purchasing a water tank, upgrading to an inverter AC, or buying a hybrid vehicle, we've got the green to help you go green. Fast approval, low interest rates, and Mother Nature approved. Your future self will thank you. Visit firstnationalbankonline.com or call 455-7000 for more information to help you turn your green dreams into clean realities. First National Bank, here for you.
Right, so for those of you who are just joining us, we are here, and with She Speaks, it's Tuesdays around that time of the morning. So if you're a family member, if you're a regular listener, you'd remember that it's She Speaks. We're encouraging you to go on over to the live. We are live on our official page of Radio Caribbean International. We're also live via our YouTube channel. And do us a favor and share up the live, because the idea of this is to, when we share life journeys and stories from our guests, it really and truly is to help to inspire someone. Inspire, if it is just one person being inspired, certainly it would have, it would have realized the purpose of the show. Jeanille Bonterre is our guest today, and we are very, very excited that she's decided to join us. Jeanille, coming back down to the career path, many people would have known and connected, and then, your work within the TV and the presenting and your Caribbean connectivity was definitely evident. I don't think anybody would have had to question what the mission was, the role that you played in that realm. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about, meshing back to your upbringing and the fact that, you cannot take claim to say that you were a grassroots sort of person in terms of the upbringing. You had that privileged life, but somehow all of your work, if we are to be honest with ourselves and we look back, very big bulk of your engagement has definitely been in that realm. You made sure you strategically place yourself and your expertise and whatever it is you could have brought to the table. You somehow brought it right back down to the grassroots, and you've always in the entertainment field, when you would have worked with promoters to promote events, you always ensured that there was an element that catered to uplifting the less fortunate, the grassroots within the community, whatever space that you are occupying. Now let's talk about that drive, that passion, that passion that you have for. Well, of course, we're going to talk about the philanthropy passion as well, but we also want to find out why is that so important to you to ensure that you reached or you touched or you impacted at that level.
Wow, I have to say thank you, Mareen, for even asking about that and putting those questions forward. I do a lot of interviews like you do, and most of the time it's focused on the entertainment side of my career, the more glamorous side,
Yeah.
Who do you know? Who did you meet? What have you done? And that is obviously a part of what I do and what I have done throughout my career. But my career in media and my desire to work in media really began with my philanthropic work. It began with me volunteering as a teenager throughout high school with different organizations for young people, different youth organizations. I was an active member of the St. Dominic's Orphanage of Belmont, Trinidad for years. Out of high school, I started working with that orphanage because I saw a need for persons like myself to get more involved with organizations and entities like that. Many times people think if you come from a certain background, it means you're supposed to go in a certain direction
Yeah.
with your life's work. Um, I sort of thought the opposite. I felt that if I come from a certain background and God has blessed me with certain privileges, then it is my duty to then look and see where can I be most valuable? Where can I make a true contribution, not just for myself, but for others? So again, maybe it was part and parcel of how I was raised, being the youngest and being afforded certain opportunities to pursue those desires. Daddy, why are we going to this meeting for the Deaf Association? And he would tell me, well, because, babe, this is what's going on with this school and this is what Daddy's going to help them do. And so it wasn't something that seemed, ooh, out there or goody two shoes or anything. It just felt like something that you did. When my uncle would bring students in from the Princess Elizabeth home to work in his mass camp, to teach them art and craft and use his mass making abilities and resources to teach young people, to bring men and women literally off the street. This was my experience growing up, is watching persons being taken in from lesser, more difficult circumstances and being given opportunities and chances to work, to earn, to learn, and to better themselves. So a lot of what I was exposed to, whether it was the people that worked for us in our homes, worked for us in our families' businesses, more often than not, there were people who were given a chance to grow. And I can rock back and say, wow, I remember these students from the St. Dominic's Orphanage that I taught and that I taught literacy programs to. I'm looking at the man who came in off the street just looking for a yard work. Now he's one of the top wire benders in the country making masks. When you see and grow with those experiences throughout your life, especially your young life, and then you have an education system that's backing that up, attending St. Joseph's Convent, Port of Spain. Again, charitable works, religious organizations, high levels of discipline, programs like Serve All, Living Waters Communities. These were active parts of my extracurricular activities. So when I became president of the Debates and Literary Society, for example, and championed our school's competitive spirit for debate and literature, at levels I couldn't even imagine I'd be doing at Form 5 and Form 6, and then being able to lead that charge and stick those projects out. It gave me the confidence to understand the power of having a voice, of speaking out, and doing so as a young person, a young girl in Trinidad and Tobago, in the Caribbean. Again, there was no social media back then, right? There was just these events and these gatherings that you would attend, and you would be able to have one-on-one time with people who were either mentors or other young people like yourself that were looking to get into something like what you were into. So there was a lot more real interaction, real life experiences, real learning. And I believe all of that is what began to really shape my desire to find a bigger platform. I was always looking for the next best option to get done what I wanted to do. So, okay, I'm working in the carnival business. I'm on the radio almost every day promoting events and parties and mass band functions. I'm in the newspapers, always having my pictures taken, entering this Carnival Queen pageant or that Carnival Queen show. Aha, here's an opportunity now to talk about this other project I'm working on with the kids at the orphanage, or this other project with the women's or girls' homes. And from being in St. Lucia, I try to find that same niche and that same opportunity
Absolutely.
to
I
give back
remember
in
us
that.
at the Uptown Girls Center. We spent some time there.
Correct. Correct. And those are the things that, even though those were some of the most passionate and fruitful and rewarding projects that I've had the privilege to work on, those are not the things that I would speak most of. Those weren't the things that I was actually being hired for. But I knew in my heart that it was sort of a reward. It was karma coming back to me that was enabling me to go further and dream bigger and push higher. So when the MTVs and the BETs and the CBSs came calling, again, I was like, okay, here's an opportunity now to take tourism and philanthropy to another level, to take Caribbean artists and development of Caribbean talent to another level. Because it's one thing to interview a celebrity who's already established,
Yeah.
for someone who aspires to be at that level in the industry, that would be considered a thrilling experience. That would be considered something you aspire to. And I don't knock that at all. But to me, because I had been exposed so much to that world growing up, that didn't impress me as much as a no name, unknown, struggling artist bursting through that brick wall, bursting through that glass ceiling, and being recognized, getting the promotion and the development that he or she deserves. That would impress me more. So I found myself more drawn to that side of the industry.
Now, some of the challenges you may have faced along the way, because listen, we are in an environment where sometimes persons with your forthcoming and your drive, and sometimes it could be misunderstood. And you know, within that industry and that realm, there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding because it's an industry where people tend to, those who glamorize it, tend to look and they don't see nothing past the glamour. So when they see persons like yourself, they do not look, they do not see the real purpose, the underlying purpose. So they just see the glamour and then they say, oh, she's having too much of a fun, or this is too much for her. She's getting too much connected. She's meeting too much, you know. So you get these sort of things, and I would know because you know it's just something we have to deal with. You know, so some of the challenges that you would have faced along the way, whilst you're doing that work, and how do you deal with situations of that sort, and you know, to ride over it. You know, maybe there's some that never was sorted out, but you had to continue to do what you do, and hopefully you know, pray that they understood after they see the results. How do you handle these?
You know, first of all, my God don't play about me.
Thank you. Amen to that.
Amen to that. Again and
Right.
again, I am a vigorous prayer warrior. And I get that certainly from my mother and my grandmother. Prayer has always been my healing modality. It's always been my guiding light, my source of inspiration, my source of guidance. I listen to God, you know. Sometimes I don't listen and I learn the hard way and reminds me why I need to listen.
Know about that.
Yeah, but through fervent prayer and again having that educational background in religion and spirituality and being able to choose my own path and chart my own course through other movements like Rastafarianism and Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and being able to explore my own understanding of spirituality and religion, that has helped me to understand my purpose at a greater and deeper level. You know, sometimes when I find myself faced with some real adversity, I think, well, if they could nail him to the cross
Who is
and
you?
stone
Yeah.
him and take his life in this world in his 30s, well, who is me?
Right.
You know, and they all worship him and glorify and celebrate him. So sometimes it really just comes right back down to that. You know, I'll cut the Bible every day and I'll always find something that speaks to me. The Lord will find a way to speak to you and guide you through any
Absolutely.
circumstance. So I have to give props to the Most High
To the Most
first.
High for that.
Yeah.
Right.
And secondly, I cannot in any way undervalue my education. You know, after attending secondary school in Trinidad and Tobago at St. Joseph's Convent, Port of Spain, I then pursued my tertiary education in the US at Santa Monica College in Los Angeles, where I studied mass communications. I then pursued a degree in TV and radio arts at Ryerson University in Canada, Toronto, Canada. It's now called the Toronto Metropolitan University. And coming from Trinidad, just like a small fishbowl where everybody knows you and you kind
Right.
of feel like you've made it, especially if your family has achieved certain levels of success where things kind of tend to come easier to you. When you leave that safe zone and you migrate to another country where you know no one knows you and they don't care. As a matter of fact, you're just some black person with a funny
Yeah.
accent that you're at the bottom of the ladder, so to speak. You become the underdog. That's a humbling experience. And you have no choice but to immerse yourself in the educational experience. You have no choice but to do your own research to figure out how can I get ahead. So every class I attended was valuable to me. I was always sitting at the front. I was always close to all my professors. I took every opportunity as the greatest opportunity. I took nothing for granted. When I'm in, you know, my sessions, for example, at Ryerson, where I was studying journalism and TV and radio arts, and I'm getting into heated debates with my professors about why I need to use my Trini accent when I'm recording this project. and why you can't discriminate against me and tell me I need to pronounce and enunciate differently because this is the way we speak in the Caribbean. When you could stand up for yourself, and at the risk of everyone in class snickering and laughing at you behind your back and calling you, oh gosh, look, Rita Marley come true again, they will make these really derogatory comments,
Right,
you
right.
know, you get to understand, okay, the world is really a big place, and you really have to have a level of emotional intelligence and maturity and, again, compassion and humility if you want to make it in this industry you think you want to pursue. And so, again, all of these experiences in my training and my upbringing really prepared me for what I would be faced with coming back now into the Caribbean industry. You know,
Wonderful.
misunderstandings will come. Many have come, as you know, but they've all been learning experiences as well. Maybe there was something that I missed that I needed to learn from that experience. So you
Wonderful.
learn to understand the importance of forgiveness, again, of exercising your maturity and your ability to sometimes, just move in silence and take things as opportunities to grow rather than
Absolutely.
a situation to hold you back and stagnate you.
Wonderful. Now, Jeanille, you remember I said this time goes by really, really quickly.
I know.
We definitely had some tea coming across there, nonetheless. But we want to follow up to I know that you're now engaged in some major platforms where you've got some stuff is going on, and I know you would like to profit the opportunity to share with us what are some of the things that you've been working on. So I'll give you the opportunity now.
Well, there are a few projects in the pipeline coming forward. Once again, I'm just grateful to Trinidad and Tobago for always being that stomping ground, that place where I can plant seeds and watch them grow, and then be able to expand that throughout the region. So I've begun my independent philanthropic works here, and it's been quite an experience because in the past 5 years, there's been a lot happening. There's been
Yeah.
recovering from the pandemic. There's been a shift in our local government, which also changes a lot of systems and laws here. And so I've taken the opportunity to challenge myself by getting involved with the Caribbean cannabis community. From a perspective of education, and of course being underpinned with philanthropy, because a lot of us are speaking of the cannabis industry and the cannabis business as this opportunity for wealth and wealth creation and expansion of the Caribbean brand. But a lot of us are not really tackling the opportunity we're going to gain if we handle the industry properly to
Yeah.
build our communities, to help our young people have stronger skills to survive, to speak about mental health, to speak about, our farmers and our planters and our agricultural system and how we can better safeguard our food security and just a myriad of topics, not to
Yeah.
mention the injustices being experienced by our
Oh,
cannabis prisoners who are currently still in
exactly.
limbo. It's
Yeah.
multi-layered, and it's
Yeah.
something that I've been passionate about for a while now. It
We
started
know
in
that.
St. Lucia,
We know
as
that.
you know, and I
Yeah.
decided to just take that leap of faith and pursue that industry wholeheartedly, again bringing my experience and my expertise to the table. And it's just something that I'm looking forward to as a Caribbean project, not just as a project here in Trinidad and Tobago. And I hope that I can continue this conversation with you where I can get into more detail about
Certainly.
that, Marine.
Certainly. Janelle, we got to wrap up. I'm just going to leave the opportunity now for you to, throw out anything that, you've been in St. Lucia. I mean, a lot, like you said, has happened in the past couple of years. A lot of hope has been broken. A lot of, people are, looking for some form of encouragement, some form of inspiration based on your journey, all of the trials, all of that you have to wire back sometimes and come back again. And you've been there. You've done that. So somebody that might be listening or viewing at this time might need some little form of encouragement. So I'm just going to leave it open for you to close us off with something inspiring, something uplifting, something motivational to any of our listeners or viewers.
You know what, Marine? Thank you for that. And again, I want to thank you and the team at RCI for giving me this wonderful opportunity on She Speaks to speak. Um, we need more unity in our multimedia Caribbean industry,
Thank
right?
you.
We need more unity. And I'm not saying that as a a ploy to say, well, okay, we need to be friendlier with each other. We need to work together more. I've had some of the greatest platforms come behind my work and support my vision. And I saw how far that I could have gone with the support and the investment of outsiders, so to speak, outsiders.
Right.
And every time I have those opportunities come forward, I think, wow, imagine if in the Caribbean media industry, we could work together like this.
Absolutely.
If we could support each other as women, as men, as professionals, as entertainers, as managers, as publicists, as writers, as directors, if we really came together to build our Caribbean media industry, we would not find ourselves in the generations coming after us competing with those outside influences that may not be what we want to influence our culture.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's tea right there. That's profound, and I definitely share that. I share that sentiment as well. Well, let's hope that the universe is listening, and hopefully in the future we'll get to see people having a greater understanding for that particular trajectory, and we could start to realize the benefits of it. Thank you again, Jay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mareen. I
Throw
love
out
you.
your handles. Throw out your handles before you leave, please.
On Instagram, IG, it's Jeanille Bonterre. On Facebook, it's Jeanille Bonterre. On TikTok, it's Empress Jeanille. Our new cannabis series that we're about to launch in the coming weeks is called Loud. You can find us on YouTube at Loud Pod Inc.
Nice.
Like that right there.
Loud indeed.
And if you want to tune into She Speaks, you know what to do. Follow Mareen Alexander.
Certainly. Jay, thank you so much, and we wish you the best. And hopefully this is not going to be our last time connecting. It seems like there's reason for us to connect going forward.
Well, you
and
and
we
I
look
have
forward to
works.
it.
We need to continue, Mareen.
We have to do it, definitely.
Hello.
We've got work. We've got work to do, girl. Well, enjoy
have
it,
work
and
to
thank
do.
you. Thank you for sharing so much of your expertise and your experience and, some of that good energy with us this morning. It's appreciated.
Can I ask you to do one favor for me?
Sure.
Can you send my love and my best wishes to Dr. Stephen King,
Oh, he's going to hear that.
my comrade on the front line, and big up
Absolutely.
all the wonderful staff and girls at St. Jude's Home.
No, absolutely wonderful. Thank you again, Jay. Have a wonderful one. Bless. Jeanille Bonterre, guys. Of course, what an honor it was to have her featured as part of our show this morning on She Speaks. She's such a darling. Wonderful. Thanks again, Jay. Thank you to the First National Bank for being our partner on this journey. And we look forward to another amazing show again come next Tuesday right here as part of She Speaks. That's also my time. This is where I wrap up my stay in your company for this morning. Stay tuned. Dexter is coming up next. Giggles. Yeah, I call him Giggles. They say his name is Diggles. I say his name is Giggles, but he's going to be up next. So enjoy the rest of your day now.
At First National Bank, we believe being first means putting you first. Your first home, we've got the mortgage. Starting your first business, count on our commercial loans. Dreaming of your first car? Drive it home today. Heading to college? Let's fund that first big step with a student loan. No matter the milestone, make First National Bank your first choice for all your loan needs. First in service, first in trust, first for you. Call us at 455-7000 or visit your nearest First National Bank branch today so we can help put you first. First National Bank, here for you.
Who's a little man with a lot to offer?